Okay, so this is going to be a unique, interesting Flame Central podcast powered.
You said the special power.
See, I tried to intro this the right way,
Go ahead,
and he always said, this is going to be a unique, interesting Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. Thanks to our good friend Joe Yack. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Okay, so we
need like little things to put up when it's your turn to talk.
You said it's a special edition. Right? And so the special edition, folks, is just to let everybody know that we're going to talk about all the NFL games this Sunday.
Right. Yeah, playoff picture in the AFC and NFC. Yeah.
Right? We're going to do score predictions.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap it up and take it on home.
Right. Pretty simple.
It's a special edition.
I don't know if anyone has been paying attention, but there is some breaking news on the mountain. Hugh Freeze is no longer the head football coach at Liberty University. He is now with Auburn. I think he's doing his press conference today.
Not sure.
So yeah, they already have like everything switched over on social media. So yeah, bye-bye Liberty Flames. We'll have some hot takes on that in just a moment. I do think that the tweet of the entire week was from Joe Yack.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You got to take these things when you're looking for inside sources.
Can you just read
it, Joe?
I don't even want to take your...
Everybody's just Freeze going, blah, blah. Joe Yack knows where Hugh Freeze's heart is at. He knows the heart. And there's a very important position that, let me just read the tweet. Sources have confirmed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sources have confirmed. Coach Hugh Freeze has relinquished his weekly Thursday afternoon tea time at Boonesboro Country Club and at Yacht Talk, that would be yours truly, at Yacht Talk has secured the spot. Power move by at Yacht Talk. Congratulations on the new job, Coach. Thanks for all you did for Liberty football.
That was, it's heartfelt, good humor.
Good finish.
I'll say this, Joe was kind of testing that one as early as Sunday morning.
He was.
He was kind of workshopping it. He was editing it here and there, change a word.
This is our relationship. This is Matt and I's relationship.
Okay.
I'm the horse ready to run, right? And Warner's and he's got the reins and he's pulling back. I'm like, let me do it, let me do it. He's like,
my hands are bleeding. Like, I'm just hanging on for dear Lord.
That is so funny.
And then when he gave me the green light, it was like,
you wouldn't be here and nothing would be powered by Alcova Mortgage if Matt didn't have that role.
True.
It's a fair point.
So some of our hot takes that we'll start with about this news. I mean, I feel like the last, 2 years, this has been, towards the end of this season, these rumors have been all like circulating. Hugh Freeze is talking to this Power 5 program. I don't think we could be surprised by this news.
No, I don't think so. And honestly, if we're being like totally honest, and we try to be, is 4 years is longer than I thought Hugh Freeze would be here when he initially came, right? I thought if he got an opportunity to jump earlier, it would just be a quick stop. But I do think he legitimately fell in love with this place. I think that can be true. I think two things can be true at once. He loved Liberty. He loved everything about this experience, what it was, but he also had that desire to go back to the SEC and test himself at what everyone would agree is the highest level of college football and at a premier job. This isn't Vandy we're talking about, no offense. So I think both those things can be true. So no, we're not surprised. It was just a matter of, would Auburn pull the trigger? I think we all thought if they made the offer, that was going to be awfully tough for him to turn down.
I mean, and think about it. He just purchased a lot in a lake golf community that's like right around the corner from Auburn.
He has history down in that part of the country. His daughter went there.
His daughter goes there.
But it's Auburn. It's Auburn. Like, they are national title contenders.
Right.
So you understand it.
And no matter how much Coach Freeze loved the Mountain, he's a competitive guy. He wants a shot at winning a national championship.
Yeah, and I think what made it really tough for him, obviously, is that Coach Freeze was 4 years ago, before the Liberty job, was, could you imagine what it was like for him at his lowest point? Very difficult for him, for his family, for everything, thinking, oh my goodness, I'm never going to get an opportunity to do this again. And Liberty opened the door for that opportunity for him to have a second chance and sort of redeem his career. And so I think within himself, that's another reason why he fell so much in love with Liberty and being here, is that they not only gave him the chance, but it was a great job. It was a great job that paid well. It was a great job that gave him all the resources, the facilities, the administration backing. It gave him all the opportunity to succeed, to redeem his career and give him the chance to, and I really believe within him that he would say, hey, there's only a handful of jobs that I would take.
Yeah.
And you knew sooner or later with the success that he had, like Matt's saying, like 4 years, a long time, that one of those jobs would come available.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think he tossed and turned over it just because of what Liberty did to give his career a second chance.
What I think Flames Nation needs to remember, though, is yes, this is kind of an awkward time because there's change, there's unknown that's ahead, but yes, Coach Freeze did come here. Liberty gave him a second chance. So that doesn't mean, though, that he's supposed to stay here forever. Both of you men, if something came along that was better for your career, that would be better for your family.
I'm never leaving you guys. I will say that right now. I would die for either one of you.
I'm sorry, but I don't think he, yes, he does owe Liberty something, but it's a win.
I'm sorry, Matt Warner and Joe Yock have already been offered Fowler and Herbstreit's job, and we've turned it down.
Yeah. So it is a win-win for Liberty in my eyes, and I think it's very important for Flames Nation. Forget you guys.
The whole college game day thing. It's like the whole day.
I have to buy a suit.
Stressful.
You gotta buy more suits.
It's really stressful, isn't it? Yeah, you have to wear mascot heads. So I think it's just really important for Flames Nation to remember that, and this is maybe my personal opinion, I don't know if you guys agree, I don't think this program could have grown as fast as it has in the 4 years than any other coach than Coach Freeze. And what he was able to do, yes, Liberty did give him a second chance. But at the same time, what he did for this program in that amount of time is really, it's remarkable.
I think both sides, right? It was them helping each other. It was a win-win, absolutely, because the job now is far better than it was 4 years ago. And that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
As you start to look forward, it's like this job now, where it sits, the history it's had already in the FBS, the facilities that have improved over the last 4 years, now heading into a conference with the playoff expansion coming in the near future, like it sits in a much better place because of Hugh Freeze. And credit Liberty University for, they didn't just hire Hugh Freeze and say, make it work.
Right.
They hired Hugh Freeze and said, now what do you need?
And that's Ian McCaw.
Yeah.
Right.
And they said, what do you need? We are going to give you everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. Yeah. And so they helped him in a huge way as well. Listen, it was a great 4 years. A lot was accomplished. Again, Liberty is set up in a great spot now. And best of luck to Hugh Freeze. I think the biggest thing people struggle with, because I think at the core of it, most Liberty fans would say, I get it, just like you were saying.
And they knew it was coming.
I get it. Business, I get it. It's the way it finished. And I think whether it's true or not, and we'll never totally know, each of the last 2 years, the way Liberty finished the regular season, when rumors started circulating, lead fans to say, again, pure perception, whether it's true or not, were you all in?
Yeah.
Were you all in at the end? And that's,
I think, distraction.
At the core, I think that's where Liberty fans were frustrated. I'll tell you this. That frustration can go away like that.
Right.
When you bring in the right guy, and I expect Ian McCaw to do that, and then you kind of start winning again.
Yeah, I mean that, like I said, the ending was bad. That game Saturday was bad, and how that whole thing went down, because Coach Freeze had.
The timing of the
2 hour come out beforehand. He's in a really difficult position because he can't talk about it. Yet at the same time, he's also telling his players and everybody that he's going to be transparent about what's really going on. And so it's like it's this give and take. It's tough. Yeah. But everybody was in a really tough situation. And then for the story to break 2 hours before the game starts, then the players are asking him about it as they're getting ready to go out on the field. It puts him in an off position.
How many?
I'm really confused about this because I don't know one coach. I don't even know if it's like allowed to communicate to your team or your players if you're in talks with somebody like another university until it's a done deal. Usually those conversations are private until a contract or an agreement has been made. So I don't know why he would have promised, I'm going to tell you guys if I'm talking to a school.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That was the problem.
That's what caused everybody to be so bitter about the whole thing.
The bottom line is these things rarely end with everybody just being like, awesome, we're all happy, best of luck. It never ends that way. Unless he had led Liberty
beat UConn, you beat Virginia Tech,
11-1 season. Right. That would have been the only way, right? You walk out of here with 11 wins and say, they carry you out of the stadium and put you in the car and say, best of luck at Auburn. But it didn't go that way. But rarely do these things, or is it completely happy on both sides. I think over time, like anything, as we all step back and some of this, stuff that just happened starts to fade away a little bit, we're all going to look back on these 4 years and say, that was a great era.
Yeah.
Great era for Liberty football, for everything involved with this school, and you're going to remember it fondly.
I do hope that doesn't take that long to feel that way, because what that family did for this university, and I know I was always like, oh my gosh, Freeze is leaving at the end of every podcast the last few weeks. I really am grateful for the, I don't know, just memories and family atmosphere that they brought to the Mountain, and they were a really, really good fit. And I do wish him the best. Yes, It is a little awkward, and I don't like change, and I don't like the unknown, but like we said earlier, I have complete confidence in Ian McCaw and what he's going to bring, which brings to our next segue. What type of candidate could Ian McCaw bring to the Mountain?
Yeah, what are you looking for, Joe?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously you have to have Liberty's a unique place, so you have to have the Christian fit, so that goes without saying. I think most importantly, what Coach Freeze brought to Liberty football was a great deal of confidence. Okay, as a football team as a whole, he hired really good young defensive coaches, and then not young only, but then Jack Curtis, recent hire on the back end, which put the defense in a position. So you've got to. Sometimes you see in college football, you see teams with great offenses, right? But they can't stop anybody. Yeah. What he did is he realized defense was important, and he had a coaching staff that was built to build a really good defense. And then on his side of the ball, he had more of a behind-the-scenes technical quarterback coach in Ken Austin. And then Hugh saw the big picture from an offensive scheme standpoint, from his philosophy standpoint, that was really good. And when you combine those two together, and this is what college football is all about. The bottom line is, and what football is all about, you go high school to the NFL, it's all about the quarterback position. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's developing quarterbacks, taking a high school kid and developing, or a transfer, and developing him into a really, really good or getting a few good quarterbacks. And that's, I think, in terms of winning football games, that you have to have the right guy, obviously, from the PR standpoint, from the Christian standpoint, a Liberty standpoint, all those things. But a confident leader who knows how to develop quarterbacks is, I think, the most critical part of the new hire.
And that's the good thing about Ian McCaw. I think he realizes that, and he is prepared to make the right hire.
So, yes, number one, you talk about the mission of the school, right? Yeah. That limits your pool, right, of who you can hire from. Mm-hmm. But Ian McCaw, I think, believes that, thankfully, that is who Liberty is, and we're not straying from that. So I love that, and I think that is going to be a critical part of this hire, and that
makes it very desirable for people who fit that.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll say, though, if I'm Ian McCaw, don't worry about hiring the next Hugh Freeze. I think that can be a mistake sometimes people make, where they had success with one person and they look for someone who's just like that person. Mm-hmm. There's not another one. Find someone. They don't have to be exactly what Hugh Freeze was. Right. But find someone who fits your criteria. The big thing for me, and I feel like the longer I've been around this, I feel like this is the most important thing in a head coach. Scheme is great. X's and O's, those are all important. Are you a dynamic communicator?
Yeah.
For a few reasons. Obviously, that helps in recruiting, right? When you're able to really cast the vision of what your program is and get people fired up. We heard Jack Curtis even say it when he came on with us earlier this year, where he said, as a coach, it doesn't matter how much I know if I can't communicate it to my players and help them understand. So in development, you talk about developing a quarterback, how you're able to develop because of the way you communicate. And then the last thing would be, especially for Liberty, remember, this is a program and a fan base that's still very young compared to looking around the country. They're still figuring it out. Barely been in the FBS. I feel like it's a fan base that's growing rapidly. You have to have someone that is a dynamic communicator and can get the fan base fired up. I love Turner Gill, great man. Turner Gill didn't have the dynamic personality. And I think it showed in terms of the fan engagement. And that was one thing when Hugh Freeze got here, you're like, whoa, he's getting people fired up. He's getting people on board. You hear him speak and you're like, man, I want to be a part of this. I think that is critical to this hire. You want someone that can be a dynamic communicator, that has charisma, that can get this fan base fired up as it continues to grow because it is still very young.
Let me text Coach Prime right now.
Coach Prime. All that to say.
Let me text Coach Prime.
Let's go, Coach Prime.
Yeah, let's text Coach Prime right now.
Get us on an Aflac commercial.
Well, another factor in this whole change in this new era is all these coaches are going to need new homes. You know?
Oh.
Who's the winner in all of this?
You have got go.
Who's the real winner?
Go. Let her go.
And who better to call than our guy Joe Yock? Because this Flames Central podcast wouldn't be possible if it wasn't powered by Alcova Mortgage. If you're looking to buy a new home and you're looking to be a new coach on the mountain, I have your guy.
Yeah, the first thing that once the new has to have is the family's going to have concerns.
Right.
They got wives, they got kids in school.
Right.
Like there's real
They're
people
looking for a
behind
voice
this.
of reason.
It's not just wins and losses.
Right.
They need somebody to give them good. Hey, we'll get you hooked up with the right people, the right realtor in town. The first thing you got to do is you got to settle your home.
Sure.
You got to settle your home, folks. And so we'll get the right realtor, and then we'll get you at Alcova Mortgage, and we'll take A+ care of all the coaches.
So how do we get in touch with you?
The easiest, once you get here, it's real easy. Everybody knows.
Yock talk.
I'm trying to brag.
Just go to Boonesboro at noon.
Listen, all coaches, I'll take you out to Boonesboro. We'll play around at golf. We'll talk some mortgages. We'll talk fine. We'll take in a business trip. So
Google machine.
Just go on the Google machine. Joe Yock J. Sounds different.
Yeah.
It's a little German.
I know.
J. You knew that, didn't you?
Which, by the way, the last time we spoke with Hugh Freeze, he called you Joe Jock.
That doesn't.
And that's when I was like, it's over.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't like that.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. Didn't like it one day.
4 years.
4 years. 4 years. So it's almost like he patted me on the back and said, beat a kid, no autographs.
That was great.
Jeez, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Oh, my gosh.
Good knowing you, too.
Yeah.
Good knowing you, too.
Yeah.
J-A-U-C-H. He always ducked me playing golf anyways.
I know he did.
He ducked me for 4 years.
Oh, my
It's one of the reasons why I left. He can't duck me any longer. I can't duck him next spring.
Yeah.
He started to feel the pressure.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach. Hey, beat it, Coach. No autographs.
One thing I want to touch on with this whole transition is the players.
Right.
And how that impacts these players on the mountain. It was like on the sidelines this past Saturday, it was really, really tough for me to look at these seniors and just how defeated they looked. The entire game, everyone just played flat. No matter what quarterback you threw in there.
Diego Pavia.
Diego Pavia.
Diego Pavia was signing autographs during one of the breaks.
Was that enough to get him to New York for the Heisman ceremony?
Pretty close.
I don't know.
Here's what I know, though. Diego Pavia, and this is a big deal. Yeah. If you're him, he got a helmet sticker.
I saw that. Yeah.
He got a helmet sticker. Get what, 5 or 6 of those out for the entire.
Yeah.
Diego Pavia went and got a helmet sticker.
He went nuts. I'm telling you guys, he was signing autographs during one of the timeouts, and I'm just like, okay, this is where we are. But it was really, really sad to see how, especially like Javon Scruggs and some of those guys that have really bought into Coach Freeze's culture and helped him build this program. I don't know. It just that makes me feel sad, but I hope that I don't know.
But you know what? The good news is you got one more. And you hope, just like a year ago where you lost your last 3 and we're like, oh my goodness, what's happening? They found a way to come together and win a bowl game. And if this team's able to do that, I think you forget about some of that stuff. Sure, you love to win on senior day. If you lose that game, then it's really a downer day in your career. But if you're able to rally it together, pull it together, guys like Scruggs, some of those leaders on that team, I think are going to get this team right, going to get their head right, and they're going to be ready to play when the bowl game comes. So I think that'll be fine.
So you have co-defensive coordinator and linebackers coach Josh Aldridge as the interim coach right now. I think that he is a great guy, too, to get this team back together and play for him and really play for Scruggs and some of those other seniors.
Is, though, if you're at this point and you're one of those players, I think you kind of say, like, no disrespect to any coach, but, like, we're playing for like us.
Yeah.
Like, we're playing for each other right now more than ever. Like, this is about us. How do we want to finish out this season? In some cases, how do we want to finish out our career? It's about us. It's about the LU on the helmet. It's about more than just, like, who's here, who could be leaving and going to the new – like, forget all that. Like, that doesn't matter. Step between those lines and take care of business for yourself and your brother next to you.
Yeah.
I just think for the hard part, like that's like from an emotional standpoint, like you do that, right? The hard part in these coach transition and bowl games is this. is preparation.
Yeah.
Like there's a reality of like you gotta play the game, right? You have to come up with a defensive game plan. You have to come up with an offensive game plan. And when you have coaches like who are like, am I going to be here for the bowl game? Am I going with Coach Freeze to Auburn? Is he hiring somebody else?
Yeah.
And so now you just can't give is the new staff going to come in? Like there's all these unsettled things that are happening from a preparation standpoint. And so you've got another staff that you're most likely playing against that is going to be there, and they're going to be preparing full tilt. So it's going to be you got to get things settled quickly, make decisions so you can have clarity of decision making and clarity of preparation for the bowl game, which is really tough.
The good news is, and it's really out of necessity, and Ian McCaw said this, it should be a quick search for head coach. Now, typically, new head coach comes in, he's like, I'm hands off for the bowl stuff. Like, I'm just an observer, and he lets folks kind of that are here, which makes sense, they've been with the team all year, handle all of that, right? So he was more hands off. But it's critical that this is a fast search because you got the portal opening up.
Right.
Yes. You're trying to keep the players you have. Then you have signing day coming up. What was it? I think it's December 20th. So like you're trying to get out there, recruits, salvage what you have of this recruiting class, cast your vision. You're out there sharing with them like, hey, you committed to Liberty University.
Yeah.
We're still the same place. Let me tell you about my vision, what I see going forward. Yeah. And so you're going to get out there and get in those homes and talk to those guys. So it's critical they have the opportunity to do that as well. So that's why we've heard, by the end of the week, potentially, we could hear who the next head coach is.
Give the people what they want who are listening to the podcast.
What do you want?
Give the people what they want, Emily. What they want the podcast. Let's throw some names out there.
Joe, you're really eager. Go for it.
Throw some names out there because everybody's talking about it. I don't know. I know he's done a great job as a football coach, right? And see the other thing that you always look for in a football coach. This is me personally, okay? And my dad, who is a very successful football coach,
would he take the job?
Would he? Yeah, no, he wouldn't be ready for the job right now. But what he would have always told me, because I'd coached a little bit myself. He always told me. He said, the sign of a great coach are coaches who do the most with the least. Okay. Right? So you've got guys out there that are at programs that might not be the big name. They might not have all the facilities. They might not have the recruiting footprint that they have. They may not have it. But how in the world is Tom Allen winning in Indiana? In the past, right? So, like, how has he done that? I look at a guy like Jamie Chadwell at Coastal Carolina, right? That's, you imagine a guy has had that kind of success as a football coach at Coastal Carolina, the teams that he's beaten, how far he took them to be able to come now to the facilities at Liberty University. There's people like that. I look at, and then on the other flip side of, a guy that I love who's a great dude, great family, has coached at a super high level, at the highest of levels, not as a head coach, is Brandon Streeter. Brandon Streeter at Clemson his name's been thrown out for many head coaching jobs, and he'd be a perfect fit for Liberty. He's been under Dabo Swinney, who's won national championships. Yeah. So he's been groomed for something like this, and he'd be a great fit. So there are some names. The best thing about this job is two things. One, first and foremost, Liberty University and all that Liberty University has to offer. And I mean that on a national level, not just a local level. Their recruiting footprint can be national, right? When you bring, especially, and I'm talking 4 or 5-star players, you bring Christian moms and dads who've raised their kids in the church, and you're saying, we're gonna leave our son and trust your son to you for the next 4 years. How are you going to continue to develop my son into a man the way that we have for the past 18 years? This is the place that you can confidently say, here's exactly what we're going to do to help your son become a complete man. And so Liberty University, first and foremost, is the most important aspect. The second is Ian McCaw is a great athletic director.
Yeah, I know.
And he
brings experience, a confidence, a stability, and he's going to do a fantastic job, whoever that hire is. So I think this next hire is going to take it to the next level.
I agree.
I can tell you, I have to imagine Ian McCaw's phone has been blowing up.
Yeah. Well, you see national media tweeting and on social media saying that this is the best non-Power 5 job in the country when it comes to facilities, going into a conference. I mean, let's look at Conference USA and who can even
well, here's the thing.
Compare to Liberty's facilities.
You come into this job
by millions.
You come into this job, and it's not a boy. I hope we can compete. It's you have a chance to win the conference.
The conference, your first
next year.
Yeah,
100%. You should win the conference.
This is Ian McCaw is having his press conference right now while we're taping this. So he says this didn't catch us by surprise, obviously, and that he hopes to have a new head coach in place by next week.
Yeah.
So
by next week.
Listen, no one is more prepared than Ian McCaw.
So I have a pretty good feeling that we're going to have even more fun next week on the podcast to see.
I think there's one more. There's one more prerequisite that's important.
What's that?
I think he needs to be at least a decent pickleball player.
I've been meaning to mention that to Ian.
A decent pickleball player.
I don't know if that was on his initial wish list, but I would like him to at least add that question in the interview process.
Do you think
Have you or would you ever
more seriously? Okay, just listen to me, Flame Central podcast listeners.
Are you open to the
They're just hitting the pickleball back and forth. Yeah. Do you think he'll go younger guy or older, more experienced?
The other guy that I thought of.
I just am like completely ignored. Like,
no, I'm answering that. I'm answering that because I think the younger guy from the communication standpoint, if we might like getting somebody fired the fan base up, is a really good hire. Another guy is Frank Reich. Frank Reich, who is the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, and that guy's a strong Christian guy, and he knows quarterbacks. He's a quarterback. He knows quarterback development, and here's the people say, "Oh, you're crazy for that." Listen to me. Hear me out on this. With the transfer portal available, right? Yeah. Frank Reich has every NFL connection at the highest level that you can possibly have. So do you know the attraction it'll be to some of these transfers from a talent aspect to be able to come? You'd say, well, you don't know high school football. True, right? But you can hire young coaches that know high school football and recruiting. But from the transfer portal side of things, he can bring in, I think, some elite talent. Liberty's got NFL potential players on their roster right now, and he can increase that.
I think,
and it's more about the Jimmies and Joes than the X's and O's, baby.
First off, I think this is all wild speculation. So let's just get that out there, right? I do think, personally, I think it will probably go more the route of someone with college coaching experience as opposed to a Frank Reich. And you know what? A lot of those pro guys, they don't want to have to recruit. They don't want to have to drive down.
So not like a Trent Dilfer? His daughter goes here?
That's a yes.
Listen,
Listen,
you just given away my out of the box candidate that I
go run with that one. That's a good call.
Again,
let Matt run with that.
Not only did I take that from him, the transition to the mortgage and the coaches moving here, I stole that from him too.
That's fine.
So
thank you for giving me credit.
None of my content is original.
I would at least place a call. If I was Ian McCaw, I would place a call there.
Make your argument.
I would place a call. Number one, gosh, and again, we know nothing. I want to make that clear.
I know nothing.
And Matt is very worried about this. Obviously, no one's telling us anything.
We trust whoever Ian McCaw hires.
Only the older podcast members will, the podcast listeners will know the phrase, I know nothing.
Yeah, Hogan's Heroes.
You know, the other thing about
Colonel Clink.
You said the pro guys don't want to go out recruiting. The one thing with Liberty is you're not going out to like all those booster dinners like constantly. True. You know, you have support from this university.
Give your Trent Dilfer.
Okay. Again, I have no idea if you would even be interested. I would make the call. Obviously, at a very high level, you know, coaching a high school in Nashville right now, an elite private school, won a Super Bowl as a quarterback, very smart offensive mind. He was involved with the Elite 11 quarterback stuff for years and years and years, so he has all the high school connections. His daughter plays volleyball here, so he's been on campus multiple times. I've seen him at volleyball games. That I would at least gauge interest.
He asked him for an autograph.
I did not ask him for an autograph.
Trent, I said, Trent. He said, Joe Jouch.
Close enough.
Close enough.
All right,
good to see you, buddy.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Like, you just start, but everybody's, you know, this is what we all do right now. What I would say about this, well, one thing I would say, because I've seen some names out there, it's going to be someone that's coached somewhere. So you can kind of stop, I think, with the whole, like, some alumni and people like that who have never coached. Let's forget that. Stop. Let's forget that.
Is it prime time on the mountain?
Prime.
Prime's coaching.
No.
I know.
It's gonna be exciting. And honestly, like we said, whoever it is, like I trust Ian McCaw.
It's bittersweet, but I think that this is going to be a really cool, exciting chapter, like you're saying, for Liberty football, because I agree with you, Joe. I think it's going to take this program to the next level. What Freeze did is set a foundation, and I think it's been awesome. But, you know, happy trails.
Happy trails.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Auburn. You know, that's a tough conference to win in, but he's done it before. Right. So he wanted to crack at it again.
So we are pretty bad now that we've like shifted into this studio about updating you guys on what we're doing on our Flame Central weekly show. We have some really fun features that are coming your way that are holiday themed. I don't know if you missed or saw the pie eating contest, but we had our third annual pie eating contest. Go to the Google machine.
I love how chill. I love how Day Hunter was during the pie eating contest.
That's Day Hunter.
I mean, he was
every
like,
day.
Not your typical pie eating.
Contest. So really funny. Carter Bradley was the back-to-back champion. He retired. So it's a pretty cool feature. We have the third annual gingerbread making house contest that we're taping today. So that should be fun. The contestants are going. It's football, I believe. DeMario and CJ Yarbrough. Yes, Bridie Herman with women's soccer is bringing a teammate, and then we have a brother-sister duo coming from track. So that's going to be good. Matt has a women's basketball hot seat for
track
Christmas.
Will win it.
Yeah, track. Can I give the Flames fantasy scoreboard?
Yes. Yes.
Joe's going to want to hear this.
Stop it. I want to go back to week 1 or 2 when he was like, had 3 points.
Oh, my.
Or maybe I don't.
It's, hey, not to rub any salt into the wound, but it's not how you start.
It's how you finish.
It's how you finish.
Okay, so Emily had this week.
Okay, Liberty football.
15.4 total points.
Wow.
Tough week. Darrell Johnson led the way for you. No, actually, Trayshawn Clark.
Trayshawn,
points. So she's up to 376.8. Joe had 37.7 points. Demario Douglas, another solid week, even though he didn't get in the end zone. Javon Scruggs was good. TJ Green got a late touchdown.
And
which
he broke a nice long run, too.
Yeah. So that helps. So Joe, 37.7 points. He's up to 383.1. He has taken the lead right now, leads by almost 7 points.
Folks,
raising the roof right now.
No, she put the crown on, remember?
The crown.
She said, just put the crown on me. She kept on doing it.
Still the bowl game, keep in mind.
Put the crown on me.
I had 26.9 points. I was led by Mike Smith Jr. Caleb Snead actually had a decent week as well. So I'm up to 344.1. I'm still lagging behind. Although, big week, I could catch Emily.
Yeah.
That would be pretty sweet.
So how many points am I up right now?
So you're up, a little less than 7?
7. Okay, so she's coming down the bowl game.
It's all coming down the bowl game.
I don't think we count the bowl game.
No, we do. No, we do.
Oh, stop
You've been trying,
Yeah.
Hey,
that's ridiculous.
Listen, just like LL Cool J said. Just like LL Cool J said.
Matt, do your role. Get him.
Yeah.
Pull him
out. No.
Yeah.
Don't call it comeback because I was never gone.
No. Yeah, there you go. So we have a new leader.
Whatever. All right, bold predictions. I guess that's who the
Liberty
head coach
will
is.
coach.
Yeah.
All right, well, anything else you guys want to touch on before we go?
I'm excited. I do think there's a buzz around this right now. Sometimes you get a coach leaving and there's like a, oh no.
Like a hangover.
What are we going to do? Who are we going to get next? And I don't feel that from this fan base right now. I think there's an excitement. I'm excited to see who we get, and I'm excited even more so to have that person on the Flame Central podcast. Powered
by Alcova
I
Mortgage.
cannot wait, Joe Yock, to have this new person look into the camera, look into the soul of America, and say, this program is powered by Alcova Mortgage. I am ready for that. I'm ready.
I want to do every single one of these football loans, okay? We're doing every single one of them. I'm throwing a gauntlet down.
Yeah. I see it now, the press conference, and the guy steps up to the microphone.
And the backdrop is all Alcova Mortgage.
Yeah, and he's like,
we have the Octog backdrop.
And he's like, first off, I'd like to thank, and then you hear Joe say, if I could for a moment, Coach, don't mean to interrupt you, but for any of your home loan needs, just want to let you know, I'm here.
We'll take good care of the folks.
This has been really fun. Hopefully we'll be back next week on our traditional Monday to talk about the new Liberty head football coach. Thanks so much for tuning in. For Joe and Matt, I'm Emily. Thanks for watching or listening to the Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage.